Hello, my name's Richard.
Hi, my name is Peter.
And this is a We're Not Wizards special. It is the second quick start on the KickStart with Peter Blenkharn from Inside The Box Boardgames. And this is week number 2 and a bit of the SubTerra campaign. So, Peter, word from the... It's almost like it's like a correspondent type of thing. Hi, Peter, do you want to tell us what's happening on the front of SubTerra?
Well, from the front lines, you know.
Yes. How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been hard work, but it's definitely been an exciting week on the project. Like the sort of the biggest thing that we've done since last time was we announced a competition. So one of the things that backers have been asking for a lot in the kind of the comment section, on the updates, or in tweets to us, messages, all that kind of stuff, was the horrors, the kind of nasty, ambiguously defined monsters of the game.
Yes.
They wanted to see them, as a miniature. So we originally hadn't bothered sort of casting them as miniatures to start with. So we thought, we'll keep them kind of ambiguous, get that sense of fear and dread, and that you don't really know what it is. And then we just have the cavers, the characters, as the miniatures that we put in the add-on set and stuff. But then loads of people said, really would be cool is, if we could have some horror miniatures. So we thought, we don't really know what that would look like. Because, we spent so long thinking we don't want to think about what they would look like, try and keep them as abstract as possible, that when people said they wanted the opposite of that, it kind of threw us. So we ended up kind of just saying, well, what do you think? So we set up a competition where backers could submit their sketches, ideas, random bits of artwork and stuff for a concept for the horror miniature. And then what we do is we'd give 5 finalists a pile of stuff to say thank you. We'd put it out to an open poll to the rest of the backers and be like, which one do you want? So we've now finished the submissions for that, and we've got about 85 submissions so far.
So this is people just sitting down in front of a piece of paper or a computer and putting together something off their own back then, completely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we want to do is, make it worth people's while, not just, take the mick. So that's why I say, the finalists will get a load of cool stuff. The winner will get, a statuette of the miniature that we finally sculpt from their artwork. And everyone that competes will get put into the development diaries and on the website and stuff, with portfolios if they've got them. So yeah, it turned out to be really popular. Loads of people was like, "Oh, this is a really cool idea, really nice way to get backers involved." And it was a good way for us as well to be like, "Well, we kind of don't want to pin this down to something that might be very different to what people would like." So we've got all that set up now. We've had absolutely amazing ones. Like we had 2 different teams, guys from the Philippines, studios that had sent in about 10 submissions each for their teams, which is really cool. We had someone's 9-year-old kid have a go. We have had professional illustrators, amateurs, people scribbling things on bits of paper, some people doing digital illustrations, absolutely everything. One person sent a sketch of a Snoopy, which is a bit weird, but kind of funny. But yeah, that's kind of taken up a lot of our time this week. So kind of sifting through all those, setting criteria for the competition. We've just done an announcement tonight to say that we've closed it off, and we're now choosing through, sifting through all the submissions to get us our final 5. Which will be exciting, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll have our winner, and then we'll be commissioning a sculpt of it, which would be pretty fun.
Where are we? At the campaign. This is Monday. It's it's quite late at night because we're both up and we're both busy. But you've hit £136,000.
Yeah.
Over 2,500 backers. You've still got 24 days to go.
Yeah.
Has it? I take it there's been a bit of a slight slowdown in.
Oh yeah,
Legends,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's to be expected, regardless of kind of where. Even if the numbers are big, which they are, each day we're getting absolutely fantastic amounts of backers and comments and pledges. It's still relatively slower. And you see pretty much the same kind of curve with every sort of Kickstarter graph. You get that initial rush of people who know who you are, who know your products. For us, we're really fortunate. We got a lot of people that were really invested in the idea to start with. which gave us that initial surge. We're getting people going through Facebook, Board Game Geek, that kind of stuff, just hearing about it. Coming in for the last few weeks. And towards the end of the campaign, we'll probably have another upsurge as well as people who are maybe umming and ahhing about whether they wanted to commit or not, saying, "Oh wow, there's like 90 different stretch goals or something. Let's just jump on and grab a copy."
I mean, where are you stretch goals wise then? What number of stretch goal are we at now? 30.
I think something like 30. Yeah, so we're gunning towards the 31st in about probably 486 pounds time. Which shouldn't be too long, the rate things are going. But yeah, we've been cruising through them, even though the gaps between them are getting bigger and bigger, obviously, as the campaign grows.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately has to be the case with the sheer numbers we're working with now. We're still getting one every couple of days, which is pretty amazing. But yeah, we've got, I think it's everything up to 155,000 is revealed.
Yeah.
So that should keep us going for a good, probably at least a week.
Keep you going till Friday at this rate.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. But we've got plans for stuff after that. We're just locking down the details until we reveal it. You're right, man.
How have you? Yeah, I've just got this continual cough that has been going on, which I shall cut that bit out so I appear to be kind of slightly professional. How obviously you've had the backer support and everything like that. When you're getting into the second week, what's the community support been like amongst the kind of the other creators that you know? What's that kind of been like?
Pretty good. A lot of the people that are kind of, at least we know within the industry. Yeah. They've been really supportive. Uh-huh. Some people maybe don't even like the game. Not every game's for everyone, but they've been really, really nice. They know kind of how much work we put in and know kind of that it means a lot to us as a project. Had loads of people, other companies splashing the Kickstarter link all over the place saying, "Hey, our mates at ITB Board Games have just done this thing. We think it's really cool. You should check it out." Yeah. Which has been really nice, to see so many. These guys are friends, right? The people that I've met and made friends with at conventions and all sorts of stuff. But for them to use their their company Facebook pages or their convention Facebook pages and mailing lists and stuff to shout about our game is really amazing. It's not something that you're ever really obligated to do, obviously, because everyone has to be careful what they put on their stuff. Yeah. You don't saturate the kind of whatever channels you're using, but to see so many people doing that is really nice. And there's been a lot of people being even just sending me a message and being like nice one mate, I saw you got another stretch goal and stuff, which is really encouraging.
What's am I right in saying you've been featured in an article quite recently?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us what this is all about?
So I caught a tweet earlier today. It was on my personal Twitter account, which I very rarely use. But I caught it on my phone. That someone had tagged me in this tweet saying, it's cool to be mentioned along with so and so and so and so and so and so and myself. I was like, I wonder what this is. So I logged into my personal one and saw it was a link to the New Statesman. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's a left-leaning political magazine in the UK, and it's quite well known, to say the least.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fairly major publication, and I was like, this is a bit weird. And then I remembered that back at UK Games Expo in 2016, my mum, who was helping me at my stand, gave me a call as I was chatting to someone else across the hall. I was like, "Get back here quickly, come on!" And I was like, "What on earth is happening?" Thinking someone's punched one of the demonstrators or someone's flipped the table or something silly. And it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then it turned out that there was a rather dashing New Statesman reporter who was at the expo. I'm not quite sure whether he was there to do an article specifically or whether he just ended up doing one. Yeah. But at the time we were doing Statecraft, our political game, and clearly he was very interested in it, was chatting
a little bit of politics.
Oh yeah, just a little bit. So he ended up chatting to the demonstrators, which for context were my best mate, my girlfriend, and one of my friends from work, and my mum. So chatting along with them and watching people play the game, thought it was really interesting. And then I jumped along and sort of chatted him through it. Sort of chatted about how it was all very like basically a massive politics nerd like embedded in the game. He seemed quite interested by it, and then he got chatting to me about the kind of the industry as a whole. And it was like, how on earth do you make a living out of this? So I was like, obviously the Kickstarter stuff and the fact that we're reaching so many people, it's making it much more viable for small people to make games as a living. And I thought, this is really cool. Like someone in the kind of mainstream political media being interested in my personal game thing. And then he was like, oh, cool, took a business card and then kind of went on his way. And he literally just published this article, which used the phrase, what was it? This is like, he described me as gangly and eloquent with a impressive froth of beard, which was a nice turn of phrase.
See, I don't want to say anything, Peter, but there's been definitely a lot of beard talk of late. And I'm not saying, I'm just, it's an observation. I mean, if somebody from the New Statesman is picking it up, then there's a potentiality that a little bit of this is true. I'm just, so there you go. So, is that weird? I mean, going in like a recognised kind of publication. I mean, this is the other thing, okay? You're now in a successful Kickstarter campaign. There's no shying away from that. Unless something horrific happens, this is all go, and you've bust the budget by potentially almost 10 times. And you're reaching that kind of maybe happy medium where people are wanting to be associated with you because you've got a successful Kickstarter campaign, as opposed to what a lot of campaigns do, which is they're fighting tooth and nail for people to maybe give them a bit of kind of publicity. I mean, are you still? I mean, are you? You must be excited. You must be. Have you? I take it you're still sleeping quite well.
Just about.
Just about. Has it become a reality yet? I mean, has it clicked in that okay, we're now on this journey, and this journey is going like up and down like a very, very exciting kind of thrill ride, and we don't know where it's going to stop. I mean, it's 24 days to go.
I think it's a weird experience. Like, it's not very like one-dimensional. Like, so when we got day one and we absolutely smashed the goal, it was just pure excitement.
Yeah.
Like, unadulterated. Oh my god, this is amazing. So many people just been like, oh, this is cool. And then second day, basically just completely crap myself, thinking that all my like carefully tuned plans I put in place, my projections for the campaign, were completely thrown in the bin. Like, I literally just chucked a load of paper in the bin off my desk. I was like, this is all useless now, because I was expecting it to go far worse than it did. So I had to, rework all the numbers, do all the shipping plans again, rework all the stretch goal stuff, do a load more graphics at the page. Like, the first week was really stressful, because I need to, make sure that all the things that I promised to people, we could still deliver on, like, the volumes that we were going for now.
Yeah.
Which, and it does change things. Volume makes things cheaper, but it also makes things more complicated.
Yeah.
So you got to be really careful. So it's a kind of weird mixture of, like, it's really exciting because you've got so many people who are, like, really in your corner. Even backers who are quite critical, it's actually really helpful. People saying, I can't believe you did this. This was so silly. I'd never seen it like that before. That's really helpful that you noticed that and thought it was a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it's all very well having the guys that say you're super amazing and fantastic, and being kind of like the guys that are obviously backing you and believe in you. But it's nice to see the occasional cynic turn up and say,
yeah.
Things like, oh, if it's that colour, then that's not going to work with us. You do realise that, or I would do this slightly differently. And you're kind of like, you're cynical as, but then again, you have a very, very good point, and let me just go and change that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's hard to read sometimes. Like, I think one of the difficulties is, even though I didn't design this game, it's Tim's design.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, I have a very like personal kind of emphasis on the company branding. I'm the face that everyone sees. When someone criticizes what we're doing, it feels quite personal, and it shouldn't be really, but it's quite hard sometimes when someone says, you know what, Pierre, this is complete crap. To not take that like, oh my gosh, I spent 20 hours doing that. Like, what on earth?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that's kind of like the other side to it, and it's really exciting to have so many people behind you, and it's an incredible feeling. But at the same time, you feel like an enormous amount of pressure at this point. Like, when we finished Statecraft, we had just over 1,000 backers, and it was only in the last day that we got that many people. We're talking 600 or 700 in the last few days. Now we've got 4 times that number.
Do you feel under pressure to be doing as much promotion as you maybe had planned? I mean, do you almost feel like, well, if we've come this far, we might as well go the whole hog? I mean, is the promotion level that you were gonna do, are you still kind of on that track, or has the type of the promotion side of things, have you had to reconsider what you were doing maybe on, like, the Board Game Geeks social media stuff? I mean, is that something you've had to relook at or revisit since the campaign's doing so well?
Yeah, definitely. I think like the whole campaign as it's been kind of up until this point, it's been very much like, okay, so we burn through plan A within the first 5 hours. So we need to then, move on, progress to plan B. If this happens, then, break this and pull out this extra plan. And it's like we've done that about 10 times in a row. So, in terms of things like advertising and promotion and stuff, getting the word out to more people. We've had adverts on KickTrack and on, sponsored few Facebook adverts on the main Facebook page and stuff. We've partnered with a few Facebook groups to run like competitions and stuff.
Yeah.
And like,
how have you found Facebook to be in terms of like the ad type of thing based on the kind of the backers? Are you able to get that granular, or is it really kind of like
It's quite hard to track. Like we've been, like I feel like we try to be quite precise with it. Doing like custom tag links and stuff, and doing all sorts of analytics. But like realistically, like Facebook ads aren't that useful. Like thinking in terms of like the money you might spend on a Facebook ad, you get a lot of reach. A lot of people see that advert, so that's useful. Yeah. But unless you get the click-throughs into people to the Kickstarter page, which a general paid ad is not really going to get you, like it's not really worth doing. Like it's probably worth more my time rather than spending £100 on a massive advert splash to just spend that time, just chatting to people on Board Game Geek. Like about nothing, like just so people get to know me a bit more, get to know what we're doing, rather than feel like they're just being sold to.
So have you found spending that time on Board Game Geek to be kind of more helpful then, kind of like helping the brand, helping yourself get kind of more exposure, because that's where your audience is actually going to be for the game?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like cynical as it sounds, like go find the consumer and chat to them. Like, if you're a plumber or something, like, you don't hang around on your Facebook page. Like, you go talk to people in the pub and you end up saying, like, oh, my mate's got a problem with his sink at home. And you go, oh, here's my business cards, like, and then you carry on and have your pint. So it's not exactly like you're not trying to hard sell people because it's just obnoxious, but like, letting people know that you do a thing is helpful. People might like what you do, they might not. If they don't, they move on. If they do, they ask you more. So just being helpful to people. I think there's a lot to be said for, like, particularly on a lot of the forums, like if there's another publisher or if there's just a general gamer who's asking a question, like it's nice to feel like you're being helpful.
Do you feel you've got to be more accessible because of you being what you're doing? Because I mean, I can't imagine putting this maybe in line with, say, a video game maker, I can't imagine a video game producer, designer or anything being near as accessible as I've seen the kind of the board game community. Which is strange, because it's kind of like the same, you would say it's the same creative industry. But I mean, I've been involved in video games in the past, and it's very, very different type of community, the board game community. I wouldn't expect the level of interaction that you have done, that you wouldn't get that through maybe a lot of kind of video games. But I guess it's a different type of community. There's a lot
potentially,
more yeah.
I think one of the big things I've noticed, particularly, like especially since going to so many conventions recently, has just been how, like, sociable not just board gaming as a hobby is, but the board gaming scene is, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just things like, the Facebook groups, Board Game Geek, Reddit even, Twitter, whatever. There's a lot of internet chatter.
Yes.
But things like, if I, take as an example, 2 different conventions I went to recently, like Dragon Meet down in London and an Aircon up in Bradford. I went up to one in Bradford. I knew the organizer, Mark Cook. He'd come down to the networking event I run. You go up there and it's like rock up at the event, and if it was any other kind of business event where I paid to be there to do my kind of little stall or whatever, I probably wouldn't talk to the person who organised it. But Mark slept on my couch when he would stay down in London because he didn't want to spend like 90 quid for a hotel.
Yeah.
And went up there and he was like, "Oh, I know you're all right, Peter." And we had a good chat and a catch up, and he was asking me how the game was going and stuff. And then we go down to Dragon Meet and we end up at the stalls next to each other. We just had a good crack all day. And it just feels like such a friendly environment. Like, people really want to help each other. I don't know whether that's because the industry, particularly in the UK, is in its infancy, and people recognise that lots of people are having to work really hard to make it. That people want to kind of help each other up, or whether it's kind of maybe the social aspect of gaming itself means that people just feel like that anyway.
I don't know if it's maybe the entry level that you can start off being a guy that lives in the same place as his studio and put together a board game and have it kind of out there, whereas I guess video games kind of take an awful lot more money. Everybody can, there's a potentiality for everybody to start from very little and go up there, so I think there's maybe a potential for people to help each other. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the it's interesting you mentioned about sort of entry levels. I mean, there's loads of numbers that keep getting sort of trotted out, as well as in that article mentioned earlier, about how much more tabletop games get on Kickstarter than video games, and it's almost obvious because if you're someone who hasn't done a maths degree and doesn't have the faintest idea about game theory, you're not an engineer, you're not someone who has the technical tools to kind of create a game in a very specific scientific way necessarily. But you played a bunch of games, you know the tools, you maybe don't understand why the tools are there, but you know how to use them.
Yeah.
You know how to repurpose mechanics that you've seen in other games. Understand the interaction between components and the game mechanics and the theme, and you can make something. You don't need to understand it all.
No.
But if you intimately at least, you can create a really good game without needing to do that. Now, obviously, if you do understand it, it does make it easier. If you're a Rana Knizia and you're a mathematician in the finance industry, you know what you're doing. But there's a lot of people who have absolutely no technical background at all who've made absolutely amazing games. Whereas if you're in the video games industry, you've got to be a computer scientist. There's no getting around it. You can be a level designer if you really want to go kind of the sort of high level. But if you want to create an entire game on your own, you'd actually have to understand 3D graphics stuff, which I studied at university and I still barely understand it. I have a bit of software experience, but I couldn't do a video game unless it was something really, really basic. I could probably do Pong if I really put my mind to it. But if I tried to make something that felt as if it had a similar sort of place in the market relative to kind of the big titles as what I do in the tabletop industry, it'd be completely overwhelming. If you try to make a small world, you've got a fighting chance. But if you try and make a Call of Duty, you've got no chance at all. It's just not happening.
It'd be very, very difficult to do a kind of a SubTerra on 160k. Let's face it, if it was a video game, it's just most of these projects require an awful lot of money. But I'm aware we're getting away from the main topic at hand.
Sure.
Stretch goals. We've obviously had the fake Peter Blenkharn beard. I'm just wondering if I noticed that didn't get triggered when you went through a couple of stretch goals recently. I was also thinking beard torches as well, which are little torches you can hang, because you used to get kind of
baubles.
Oh, that's what I was thinking, because I saw that at Christmas, beard baubles, and I thought beard torches for going about could be working, but see, New Statesman has just nicked my thunder over this whole beard thing. Now I have to refer to something else. What's in store for week 3? I mean, we've had our design competition. I mean, one of the next things that people talk about is social stretch goals. What are you thinking for week 3 now that we're we've still got 24 days to go. It'll be 24 days to 3 weeks. What's the plans now for the next week now?
There's a few things. There's a couple of really big stretch goal announcements which aren't part of the game itself. One is related to the game and one is to support the game.
Right.
And they'll be fairly high level stretch goals. That's going to require a lot of funding. But they should be really interesting. It's as far as I'm aware, one of them is very rarely done on Kickstarters, and one of them is, as far as I've seen, has never been done before. As part of an actual game's Kickstarter. It's not something that's completely unique, but it should be pretty cool. So that's kind of one thing. So kind of keep an eye out for some stretch goal announcements. And the other thing is hopefully we'll be doing a couple of live playthroughs. So I've been chatting with the guys that run Tabletopia, and they're going to be doing like a Tabletopia live session with me, and potentially Tim as well. So they'll be broadcasting that through the Tabletopia system to Tabletopia users. And as far as I'm aware, you'll probably be able to access that afterwards as well. So we're hoping to do a few more kind of live playthroughs or interactive event type things. I'm probably going to do like a solo playthrough at some point through Facebook as well. All right, okay. Because I've got all the stuff hopefully set up right to do that now. Had to boost my internet to make it work. But yeah, there's a few bits and bobs like that, and we'll just kind of have to see where it goes, I suppose.
You wake up tomorrow morning and see what's happening and kind of take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's things like we had to basically ring up everyone in the team and we're like, right, okay, this has gone a bit mad. You need to all clear your diaries for the next 2 months, which everyone was like perfectly happy to do because obviously like particularly for the artists, like it's a really satisfying moment for me to be like, okay, so we've had a really hard job getting everything done on time. I've had to push people quite hard to make sure that everything gets done enough for the campaign. But to be able to say, don't worry, like we're going to have a lot of fun stuff to do now. Like the hard work's over. We've done the core content. Now David the Illustrator gets to just go crazy and do like 10 different pieces of what we call story art, which are basically just fun paintings. Like we're doing them as art prints, as add-ons. We're giving them away as kind of freebies to people. Yeah. Including more art in the rulebook and stuff, just for fun, basically. Yeah. Because it just creates that like nice atmosphere of the game. Like it's fun for people to put on the walls, and it's great to be able to pay an artist to do stuff that he's enjoying doing, which is really nice. Helping everyone kind of keep the lights on.
Well, that's what you want. But I guess you're able to go to people and I guess have conversations with people now and say, what about this? Could we consider this? When the kind of, I guess the budget that you're on is a little bit more than kind of what you thought, which must be quite good. But we shall keep an eye on it all in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
As normal, for everybody that is out there listening just now, the links to the campaign will be in the show notes. And as we say, this is just a special one-off that myself and Peter are going to be doing for the next 24 days at least until the campaign runs, and then we'll have a roundup show when we see what the final scores on the doors are for until then. Anything else you want to drop in before we sign off for this quick start?
Oh, yeah, actually. Yeah, before I completely forget. So we're doing a competitive game jam at the ITB head office on Saturday, which is the 28th.
Yes.
And if you're in the London area and you want to come and compete for the chance of getting your game published into a fun promo copy and a bunch of prizes and just have a good laugh, then the info is on the Facebook page or on the website and all the usual places. But yeah, so sales pitch over.
And we'll make sure that that's in it'll be in the show notes anyway, so you can pick it up, have a look, because we put show notes there, so we have show notes to show. In the meantime, for everybody out there that's listening to our little informative bit of a gem that you could potentially find underground, I think this week's watchword is remember batteries for your torch. I think is the main thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because you never know what horrors are out there.
Although
again,
soon you will.
You will, I know. You'll find out in the next couple of weeks what horrors are actually out there. Cool. Until the next time, though, it is going to be a goodbye from me. Goodbye.
And goodbye from me as well.
Yes. Remember, as I said, stay safe. Keep your batteries. Watch out for horrors. And if you know of anybody else that likes the theme that's into board games, let them have a listen and let them see the campaign. Until then, bye-bye for now.